Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 8th edition video, guys. Breaking news. The pre-order date for and the release date of Warhammer 40,000 8th edition has been given to us. Praise be to the Emperor. Praise be to Games Workshop. Okay, now we've got that fanboyism over. Let's take a look at what we now know will be coming on the 17th of June. That is when we will finally get our hands on Warhammer 40k 8th edition. So, just to let you guys know, like I said, the pre-order date is June the 3rd. So, you won't be able to get the rules or anything on June the 3rd. You will simply be able to pre-order that. And what that should allow you to do is essentially guarantee yourself a copy of the rules on the day they come out. So on the 3rd of June, take the day off school, or go down after school, or take the day off work, or call in sick, or go after work, whichever you want to do. Go down to your local Games Workshop and pre-order yourself some Warhammer 40,000 if you want to. If you can do. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until the 17th. But let's get into it, guys. Wowzers, there's so much to cover in this. I'm going to try and keep this video short, as I always try to, but so much to cover. Let me grab a quick drink before we get into it. The sacred iron brew quenching my thirst, allowing me to bring you these videos. Right, so the new Warhammer 40,000 starter set will now be called Dark Imperium. So we no longer have Dark Vengeance. So if you want Dark Vengeance, guys, which is a fantastic deal, if you want Dark Vengeance, now is the good time to go and get it. It'll be 65 quid. Because even though with Dark Vengeance you get the this is the old set, even though you know obviously you get the older stuff, Dark Vengeance is a great deal for £65. So if you've always been on the fence about getting yourself some Dark Angels or getting yourself some Cultists, now is the time to get onto the Dark Vengeance. But we're not here to talk about Dark Vengeance, we're here to talk about Dark Imperium, which I think is quite a good name for it overall. Number one, I'm perfectly happy with the name. It's appropriately 40k-like, and let's see what we get in the box. Well, of course, as always, we get two opposing armies. And for Dark Imperium, the two opposing armies will be Space Marines versus Death Guard. Many of you already know that, but it is Space Marines versus Death Guard. Specifically, it will be Primaris Marines versus Death Guard. Okay? So you won't get a single normal tactical marine or assault marine in this new box set. It will all be all Primaris Marines for the Imperium side. So just be aware of that, number one. So that's just fantastic. Two full armies. On the Imperium side, you get two of the new Primaris Intercessor squads. Okay? And they're 5-man squads that each come with 1 sergeant and 4 riflemen. Okay, I can't, looking at these now, I'm telling you now, I can't see any special weapons in those squads. However, one thing to point out war gear wise is your sergeant. I'm just looking at this now. In each squad, your sergeant comes with a bolt rifle. So guys, that's actually kind of a big deal, because as you well know, for a lot of sergeant models in the 40k universe, you have to take a stupid pistol and close combat weapon, even if you don't want to. With these Primaris Marines, it looks like you can take a bolter, or I should say in this case, a bolt rifle on your sergeant, so he will be able to contribute to your squad's firepower straight from the get-go. So that's good. What does this mean for the guard? Because obviously we have to try and do this a bit from a guard's perspective, you know, tease these things out. It might mean, guys, that we will be able to take our lasgun sergeants again. I know a lot of you guys lament the loss of the lasgun sergeant. That's what we might be getting now. if sergeants are now allowed to take rifles and not just pistol and close combat weapon, that is pretty tasty. So you get 2 5-man Primaris Rifleman squads. You then get 1 Hellblaster squad. Interesting unit, this, guys. Interesting. It's essentially a 5-man plasma squad. And that includes the sergeant. So you get 5 Primaris Marines, and every single one of them, including a sergeant, every single one of them is armed with a plasma gun. Now, straight off, I'm going to tell you, these plasma guns look different. I'm looking at them right now. These plasma guns look different to your run-of-the-mill plasma gun. Not only are they sort of bigger in general and longer in general, it looks to me, guys, like they've got 2 fuel cells going into them. Now, whether that's just a design choice or if that will actually mean something in the rules. Could mean we're going to get plasma guns that fire even, maybe twice as fast. They can put out twice as many shots. Maybe it's additional cooling so that these plasma guns don't overheat. Who knows? Who knows? But all I'm saying is those plasma guns look beefier than you would expect. So keep an eye out for that. Next squad that you get, not Interceptor, Inceptor squad. Think of the film Inception, guys. These guys are an Inceptor squad. And in this unit, you get 3 Inceptors, which are the new sort of jetpack infantry. They look a lot like Assault Marines. However, they only get 3. In current Space Marines, you need 5 models for your Assault Squad. Key difference between these guys and Assault Marines, they dual wield Assault Bolters. I do not know what an Assault Bolter is, guys. Okay? But they dual wield them. Assault Bolters could be the new Storm Bolter. If that's the case, you're looking at double wielded Storm Bolter. We're looking at 4 shots per one of these Inceptors. 4 shots could potentially be AP -1, strength 4. 12 shots from a basic squad. That's looking pretty tasty. The models themselves look pretty cool as well. I have to say, I know there's a lot of people that aren't sure about the new Primaris Marines, but I have to say, I do like them. My only criticism is some of them, it's just going to sound funny, some of them look a little bit like they've been eating too many McDonald's, guys. They've got a bit, look, it's just the design of the armour, they look a bit chunky. But it's fine by me, it's obviously just thick armour plates. So there are your 4 squads that you get for the Marines. You get 2 Rifleman squads, 1 Plasma squad, and 1 Jump squad. You then get 4 characters as well. 4 characters, wow, straight off the bat. Now what does that hint to me, guys? It's looking like Hero Hammer. It's making a bit of a return here. Characters could be really important. So the fact that you can take so many characters in just a starter box set, that's pretty crazy. It sounds like the Games Workshop want to do some mega boss battles, mano a mano. Could be pretty crazy. I don't want it to be too much like Hero Hammer, because Guard are going to struggle in a Hero Hammer game. But you're getting 4 heroes in one side. For every squad, you get a character. It's pretty crazy. So what do we get? We get a Primaris Lieutenant with a power sword and a bolt pistol. Okay, nothing too fancy here. You also get another Primaris Lieutenant with a bolt rifle. Interesting thing about these lieutenants is more the fact that now we have a clear in-between rank between like sergeant and captain in the Marines. So I imagine that, a captain will have 3 wounds. Or maybe a Primaris captain will have 4 wounds. And a lieutenant will have 3 wounds. We don't know. Because regular Primaris Marines have 2 wounds. So I'd imagine the lieutenant's going to have 3. And I imagine the captain's going to have 4. That's pretty tasty, guys. So you essentially get 2 lieutenants, 1 with a power sword, 1 with a bolt rifle. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, the one with the bolt rifle could easily be used as a sergeant. He doesn't look too different to the regular Primaris Marines. In fact, if anything, if you find that you need to bulk up your squad numbers a little bit, you could definitely just take both of these lieutenants as sergeants. You could just take both of them as sergeants and just slap them straight in the squads. They'd fit in no problem. So that's up to you guys. It gives you some options. You also get a Primaris Ancient, who is a banner bearer. Straight up, he just looks fucking awesome. And you also get a Captain in Gravis armor. Taking a look at this, again, this is one of the models that online has been criticised, and I agree. The guy looks tubby. I mean, it's just the design of the model, but he does look a bit of a chunky monkey. He's been having too many donuts, this guy. You know, maybe his sort of IV drip or food drip in the pod was a bit, you know, was on a bit strong. I don't know, but he's a chunky lad. Anyway, who cares? He looks like he's going to fuck shit up, is all I can say. He's got a power sword. He's clearly got an iron halo on there. He's got a power fist with an inbuilt, looks like bolter of some kind. It's a belt-fed bolter. Look, this guy ain't messing around. He's going to mess you up. So yeah, overall, I mean, not trying to get dug into it too much. I mean, what's that? 20 Marine models straight off the bat? It's pretty crazy, guys. 22 Marine models straight off the bat. Crazy times. Right, let's get straight into Death Guard. Let's smash through these Death Guard quickly. Death Guard. You get a unit of Plague Marines. You get 7 of them in a unit. Nice touch, Games Workshop. 7 is the number of Nurgle. These guys look... They're going to eat your face off. Like, these guys look crazy. The level of detail on these models is insane. At the risk of becoming massively unpopular, I actually think the models look a bit too busy. There's so much going on the models, and they've got so many bits sticking out of them, and they look like too much is going on. And I'm sure, I don't know, maybe it's just me, I like the models, but if you take, and this is not just because I am a loyal servant of the Emperor, but if I take a look at these Death Guard models, which have got so much going on, and then I just take a look at the Primaris Marines, I can't help but think those Primaris Marines just look so much better. They're clean. They're crisp. They've got some extras, you know, they've got holsters and grenades and stuff, but there's not too much going on. These Primaris Marines are some of the best Games Workshop have ever made because, for once, they haven't stuck 1,000 skulls on something. They're clean, they're crisp, they look like they're going to get the job done. So, not to poo-poo the Plague Marine players out there, the Death Guard players out there, but there's so much going on these models. I wouldn't blame some of you for you know, trimming off the occasional horn here, the occasional bit of guts here. So much going on. But the models are fucking amazing. They are absolutely fantastic. So I had no real criticism. They come with a variety of weapons. Some, like I said, with so much going on, kind of hard to identify what they all are, but they definitely come with a mixture of bolters, bolt pistols. Sergeant's got a plague knife and a power fist, and there's a guy with a plasma gun in there as well. So great. They get a Foetid Bloat drone. This looks like the current Blight drone, but it's got more guns. So I imagine this is more of a shooty option. The Bloat drone looks amazing. And maybe again it's just me being a bit biased, but it's not quite it hasn't got quite as much going on. You know, it's less busy. It's got still a lot of detail, but it's a little bit cleaner, a little bit, you know, a little bit more defined. Not quite as just crazy shit stuck on all over the place, but it looks good. Pox Walkers, right? Okay, Pox Walkers, the new copyrighted name for zombies in for GW. These are going to be your new cultist guys. They're armed with a variety of weapons. Mostly looks like, if I had to guess, Games Workshop is going to say each one of them is armed with a single close combat weapon. That would be my guess. What do I think of these models? Again, I don't know. They look a little cartoony. And again, you know, feel free to criticise in the comments. Tell me what you guys think. Maybe I'm 100% wrong. Maybe I'm just used to the sort of And I'm used to the older models like the Mordian Iron Guard, which are quite simple. You know, they haven't got quite as much crazy shit going on. But these poxwalkers, these zombies, they're just a little bit cartoony. And I think it's the faces, guys. I think the models themselves are pretty good. And then you get to the faces and they've all got these fairly cartoony, evil grins on their face. And I know that's kind of always been Nurgle's thing, though. So let me just say it right now. Nurgle has always, you know, if you go back to like the original, like Servants of Chaos Codex, 2nd edition, I believe, Servants of Darkness, it might have been. And you had that giant, what the fuck's it called? Papa Nurgle, Father of Nurgle, Great Unclean One. Had a giant Great Unclean One sat on the front cover, and he was grinning like a nutter. So I'm willing to let it slide because it's always been the way Nurgle has been. They've always been a bit, you know, cheesy in terms of the faces. But I don't know, has Games Workshop gone a little bit too far? Who knows? The models still look great. So much detail, so much to keep you busy when painting these guys. You know, it could take me a week to paint one of these guys up to a decent standard. There's so much going on. So again, really high quality model, so not a real criticism. Right, quickly, their characters. Now, these guys only get 3 characters rather than 4. I should say, by the way, before we carry on, the Poxwalkers, you get 2 squads of 10. Okay, 2 squads of 10, before I forget. So you get 7 Plague Marines, 1 Drone, and 20 Cultists. Not bad. Now, the characters you get: Lord of Contagion, standard Chaos Lord in Terminator armor. He's got a big fucking axe. He looks pretty crazy, is all I can say about him. He looks pretty crazy. Noxious Blightbringer. He is meant to be the banner bearer equivalent. He's got, but rather than a banner, he's got a big Nurgle bell. Reminds me a lot of the Screaming Skull, Screaming Bell of the Skaven back from Warhammer Fantasy. Not much I can say about him. He's got a bell on his head. He's got a plasma pistol in one hand, and he's got a looks like another sort of town hall ringer in his other hand. So he's obviously clearly some sort of character that's going to buff your nearby guys. And the last one, we get to see our first Psyker, and it is the Malignant Plague Caster. And he is clearly, he's just a classic Psyker here, guys. Again, at the risk sound like a broken record, I just don't like his face. He just looks very cartoony. I know a lot of people are going nuts about and absolutely loving these Death Guard models, but I have to say, I prefer the old ones. And this is just so you know, I'm not just saying, oh, I love old models. I think the new Primaris Marines, I don't get any of the hate around the new Primaris Marines. I think they're amazing. They true scale Marines and just really crisp, clean, well done sculpts. And Death Guard ones just look so cartoony, and you can't fucking tell what's going on with them. This is the last thing I'm going to say. I'm just going to, literally 10 seconds, guys. Some of the models, you actually don't even know what equipment they've got. I mean, with all of these characters, for example, I don't know if they're wearing Terminator armor or power armor. I can't physically tell. There's so much random shit going on in the models that I can't physically tell. Now, could that cause confusion in game? Very possibly. You know, I mean, I guess it means you can choose if you want which kind of armor you want, but I'd say the models are a little too busy for me, guys. Plague Marines, I think half the Plague Marines look absolutely amazing, and some of them look like a little too busy, but that's personal choice there. But yeah, anyway, overall, being 100% fair, I think all the models, whether I like the look of them or not, is irrelevant. if I'm to look at them purely, objectively, it looks like they're really high quality sculpts. It's really, really good news that Games Workshop is putting out brand new model lines for existing armies, and they're really well detailed. They're obviously really, really good at representing their various factions, and from that point of view, from an objective point of view, no complaints. Just slight personal preference of the Plague Marines, that's all. But if someone was, if some of you guys are out there absolutely loving those Plague Marine models, then I 100% respect that and agree with that, because it's all down to personal preference. Some people think Mordian Iron Guard looks stupid. Why'd you go walking around in any uniform like that? Personal preference. Hey guys? Anyway, already this video is going on long, but what do we expect with so much content? So we get 2 full armies. I mean, those are pretty big armies. We're talking over 40 models easily. Absolutely fantastic amount of models in that starter set. You get, in the starter set, continuing on, you get the 280 page hardback in the book. Crazy, guys. So you don't get the little paper rulebook anymore. You get the big Betty one. You get the Mama one. So that's pretty good. So I'm sure a few of you out there will be a bit disappointed. You won't be able to go on eBay and buy yourself a slimline copy for cheap. That's true, you won't. But you will, if you buy the main box set, you will get a proper beastly book, which is great. In major news here, guys, it says includes major advancements in the story for every faction in the galaxy. So it's going to be, fingers crossed, guys. Let's hope that the Guard come out with some, with some okay stuff. Let's hope. Carrying on. There's just so much stuff. So we've got the box, we've got the miniatures, we've got the Warhammer 40,000 rulebook, and now we know what rulebook, what codexes we're going to get. So if they're not called codexes, they're called indexes. Okay. Indexes are basically multiple codexes mashed together. There's softback, number 1. So no more hardback codexes, unfortunately, or indexes. And there's 5 of them. There's 2 for the Imperium, 1 for Chaos, 2 for Xenos. Okay? Now, I don't know. Someone tell me if I'm wrong here. Someone tell me if I'm right. I don't know if you'll get all these indexes with your starter set. I don't think you will. I think you will get your rulebook, and you'll get like your mini faction codexes for your Primaris Marines and your Death Guard. I think like you sort of get in the current Dark Vengeance, you get a mini sort of a little book for the Chaos, a little sort of overview for the Dark Angels and Dark Vengeance. I think you'll get a mini codex for your Death Guard, a mini codex for your Primaris Space Marines, but I think if you want the full rules for your army, you've got to buy an index as well. Okay? That's what it looks like, so be careful, guys. So let's get into the indexes themselves, okay? I'm trying to get a good close with the picture. Right, here we go. Imperium number 1 contains Space Marines, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Space Wolves, Grey Knights, Death Watch, and Legion of the Damned. So, guys, if you are a Space Marine player, you now have a one-stop shop for all your Space Marine needs. Those of you out there who are worried about all your chapters getting rolled into one Space Marine book, I think you've got a good chance here of that not happening, because they've specifically put each of the chapters out there, which means each chapter will have its own section in that book. So you won't just have, like Black Templars where they get a single unit mentioned, the Crusader squads. No. I think you'll be absolutely fine. I think this is essentially how you can view this is Codex Beta Marines, Codex Blood Angels, Codex Dark Angels, so on and so forth. So keep your fingers crossed, you guys. Imperium number 2, Index Imperium number 2, you have Ashta Militarum, cough cough, Imperial Guard, Adeptus Mechanicus, Imperial Knights, Imperial Agents, and Talons of the Emperor. Okay? So if you, for this channel guys, you will want to go and get your Imperium number 2 Index, because that is the one with all the Imperial Guard in there. So, there we go. Chaos has Heretic Astartes, Chaos Demons, and Traitor Knights in there. And Xenos, I'm trying to have a look at it now. It's not being super super useful. Xenos number 1 is... Why will you not let me scroll down? Well, Xenos number 2, I can definitely... Ah, here we go. Xenos number 1 is Craft Worlds, Harlequins, Necrons, Dark Elder, and Ynnari. Okay? Xenos number 2 is Orcs, Tau Empire, Tyranids, and Gene Stealer cults. Okay? So there you go, guys. That's what's in each book. Now, Games Workshop have said very clearly, for those of you that are worried, Games Workshop said very clearly that just because your factions, you know, let's say those Necrons and those Tyranids are lumped together, that does not mean they'll be working together. They're not now suddenly allied and no affiliation. They've just broken up their books in that way. Essentially, you've got, how I view it is, you've got Index Eldar and Index every other Xenos. That's how I'd view it. I wouldn't see it as Index Xenos 1 and Index Xenos 2. I would see it as Index Eldar and Index Xenos. So there you go. Now, so bear that in mind, guys, which book you're going to need. Games Workshop have said, for those of you slightly worried about the individualism of your armies, Games Workshop has says each faction will receive a stand-alone codex. Okay, so we will be getting a stand-alone guard codex. The reason for these books right here, right now, is so that everyone starts off the new edition on the same playing field. So at the very least, guys, we should, in theory, get a solid few months of balanced gameplay. The real test for Games Workshop will be when they release that first standalone codex. Because we could, let's say they don't release a new codex for 6 months. We could have a sweet, sweet, sweet time of 6 months of potentially pure balance. And if that new codex comes out and it's Codex fucking bullshit cheese empire, then we'll lose it all again and we'll be back to square one, guys. So be grateful now, rejoice now. But be wary for what could come in the standalone codexes. We could get power creep all over again. Finally, there are a few other random bits and bobs and pieces of shit they throw in there. They throw in some new tactical objectives, some command dice, some wound trackers, a combat gauge. Not entirely certain what that is. I think it's a ruler of some kind. I think it's a ruler, and the ruler's set to different intervals, so you can move your guys at a certain interval, so you don't need to measure it, whatever. Get a tape measure, 20p, ASDA, or B&Q, I should say. And then you also get some objectives, so cards, dice, wound trackers, strange ruler thing, and objectives. So, what does that tell us? Let's not just gloss over that. Fuck the wound trackers, well, I don't even know what command dice are. I think it's for your different kind of mysterious objectives. That's what it looks like. But I can't tell. Maybe it's stratagems? Who knows? Maybe they're just dice. I think some of them are for dice and some of them are for your mysterious objectives. Okay? But tactical objective cards, what does that mean? Bam! We're still going to have Maelstrom missions. Straight away we know we're going to have Maelstrom. And we're going to have objective-based games again. So that's the thing you want to take away from this. So there's very high chance we're going to have some 7th edition style missions coming out here, guys. Not sure what we'll see. They're bringing out a book, if anyone gives a shit, Dark Imperium. Get all your Death Guard, get all your bolter porn in here. Fucking 300 pages of pure bolter porn by Guy Haley. And that's it. That is it, guys. So a really, really long video. In terms of what this specifically means for the Guard, specifically for the Guard, not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. You know, potentially we're going to get Lasgun Sergeants. That's pretty cool. If there are pure Guard players out there watching this now, my recommendation would be, unless you really want the starter set, don't need to buy it, because people are saying the starter set's going to be £100 or £95. So the starter set's going to be £95. So do you really need that? Because you don't even get your index in there, guys. If you are a pure Guard player out there now, my recommendation from a financial standpoint is buy yourself your rulebook and buy yourself your index. Okay? Now, I know you're going to get your standalone codex later, but if you want to play the game straight off the bat, you're going to need your index. And it's index number 2. Now, this is word of mouth, guys. People are saying the main rulebook will be about £45 and the index will be about £15. So, you should be able to get all the rules that you need to go out and blast the crap out of some enemies in 8th edition for about £60. You could get it cheaper from third-party places if you wanted to. So that's what I'm going to sign off on, guys. Do we, as pure Imperial Guard players, need to really get super excited about this? Not too much. Not too much. But there are a few little bits that we need to just keep an eye on. But that's it, guys. So, of course, let me know in the comments how hyped you are for 8th edition, or how much salt you are mining right now. Maybe you really hate everything about 8th edition. If you've got some good points to make, put them down in the comment section. So I am willing to accept both the sweet and the sour, guys. Come together into my comments channel and let's analyze this 8th edition reveal in all its glory. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it's been informative. And once again, I'll see you guys next time.